All right, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fantastic Tuesday morning? So we got a little bit of news coming out. Trump buying a bunch of stuff, and it's affecting Kronos. As you can see here, Kronos doing a pretty decent short squeeze this morning. It's up 24% on the day's range. We were actually watching this for potential short 2 days yesterday, and obviously that did not work out. It has literally been trading sideways here for multiple days, 3 days in a row, just printing piano keys here back and forth. Yesterday, I actually thought we were going to see it break down with the rest of the crypto market as the rest of the crypto market was breaking down. But this morning woke up and this thing was right back above the 21 exponential moving average. That's a pretty good signal. It's not always a bullish signal, but whenever you put in a close like this, and then the very next candle is a bullish engulfing, that's a pretty good signal to stop trying to look for shorts. I mean, you catching a bullish engulfing on a higher time frame chart at support. So typically you don't want to see that. If your asset is going to break down, once you break down, you should see continuation to the downside. So if you're not immediately seeing that continuation to the downside, you have to really start thinking about closing your shorts, so that way you don't end up catching something like this. Now, this is obviously not of the norm, definitely not normal. Some news came out here, and I'm not exactly sure how it affects Kronos, but Kronos is part of Crypto.com, so that's I guess that's what's happening here. Trump Media, Crypto.com announced a strategic partnership, and it's billions, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull this up, as this was that was the actual copy link, open link. There you go. So there's the screenshot. Trump Media Group, CRO strategy to acquire $6.42 billion for Crow Digital Asset Treasury. That's what's got this thing popping this morning. Obviously, there is no technical setup here. If you're trading this, you're trading this just purely trying to catch momentum. And that's literally it. Rest of the crypto markets are up, not bad, but yesterday was a pretty bad day for them. Here's the watch list. This doesn't encapsulate the entire watch list, but you get an idea here. Everything is up. Now, nothing is up dramatically except for Kronos. Bitcoin did get a little bit of a pop with that news also. At the same time, at 8:30, which was when the news happened, we also got durable goods. I don't see that really causing the markets to bounce. I think you're seeing that crypto spike on that Trump media news, more or less. Ethereum also got a nice bid, catching support at the weekly open. Today's Tuesday. Structure on the near term, 30-minute looks bearish. You're under the 21 on the 4-hour time frame here. So it'll be interesting to see how we close this candle. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes left on this close. We still got a good 25 minutes before the market opens, but it looks okay for now. You're trading under the current week's VWAP. That's that green line in there. Let me kill the moving averages so you can see. And this was yesterday's volume weighted average price. We need to move that over here to today. But yeah, big move down yesterday on Ethereum. Yesterday we did good during the I did good during the members only. Well, it's not the members only, it's the Discord session, because I go live every single day. But seeing how I have a premium service, I do more live streams for them throughout the week than the public audience. But obviously, if you want to join, you can. You just go to the link. It's in the Discord. The link is in the comments, or the link in the YouTube video. The Kronos got me all twitching here. There's a link in the description to join Patreon. That's just, it tells you how to get to the Discord if you wanted to be a part of that. I'm only saying that because I had 2 people ask this morning. So there you go. But anyways, moving on. Yeah, last week's open, huge level for Ethereum. If it can hold this area, here's what you got on the weekly time frame. So as of right now, today's just Tuesday, so the week just started. We've only got yesterday's trade and so far up until this point today. And you're bearish on the week. Have we set the weekly low down here near August's VWAP? For the month of August, you look really good. This is the last week of August. So Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday is the 31st. So that will close this candle. And then we will be starting into the week or the month of September. So we'll have a whole new range. A lot of news coming up. First week in September, that Friday, you'll have non-farm payrolls. We have PCE this week on Friday. PCE is the Fed's #1 gauge to look at inflation. Then you will have NFP next week on Friday. Then the week after that, on Wednesday, you'll have CPI. And then the week after that will be the glorious Fed interest rate decision. So depending on what happens for this week, next week, and the week after, will obviously dictate if they're going to cut and how much they're going to cut. Now, everybody was assuming that rate cuts would be good for the market, and the market treated that as really good news when he basically came out Friday during Jackson Hole and said, yeah, we're probably going to be able to cut some interest rates. Big spike. Didn't quite make fresh all-time highs on this, but you did make fresh all-time highs on the cash market, on the SPX, and then yesterday you're retracing a bit of that. So we would want to see the midpoint of this candle hold on daily closing bases if it's going to basically keep that move. It could retrace every bit of it over the span of the entire week. Not a lot of news being priced in to the market this week, as there's only an 81 point expected move. Where is it? There we go. Only an 81 point expected move for this entire week's range. To put that into context, we moved 96 points on Friday alone. Now that's from Thursday's close all the way up to the Friday close. So that's how you get 91 points. There wasn't 91 points from the open of Friday to the high, but from Thursday's close to the high, 96 points. So one day would basically be your entire expected range. We're not expecting that to play out. Probably going to see a lot of choppy sideways, 2-action trade here going into the week. But yeah, we did pretty damn good yesterday. So we got a little bit of a buffer going into this week, which is always good. It's a great place to operate from. So yesterday I had 3 trades on, ended up closing all 3. Not yesterday. I go into the session with Solana and Bohm already profits booked on these 2 trades, and then going into the session, we shorted XMR. I took profits. So yesterday was $1,000 day with a small account. Not bad, not bad, not bad. So coming into the day, I have a couple of those positions still open. The XMR and Bohm position are still open. And I got stopped out of me trying to short Kronos at the highs multiple times. So I took, I don't even know, like $200 of those gains out the window trying to capitalize on this volatility. It was a very difficult short. As you can see, like every 1 minute candle right here, you almost took out the entire news move, and then boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it's impossible trying to short something that's just absolutely rocket shipping to the upside. So I basically I'm not gonna trade this. You guys can if you want. I wouldn't be messing with it. Obviously, that's good news if it pans out, right? If it actually pans out. You can see how now price is caught back up to the 1 minute moving average, the 21 exponential. This shows signs of strength still. There is a weekly resistance level up here that I got for you if you want to watch that level. This is not your all-time highs. All-time highs on this thing appear to be almost up at $1. And then long term, like you would, I don't even know what, 3 years of highs would be smoked if you get above 2024's high. So that's where you could go if you are above weekly res. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to short this because you think it should roll over or whatever, wait, no, that's going to be high. I wouldn't, but if you want to, if you're trading above this weekly resistance, you have to assume the next area is up there. Now, I did pull up the liquidations. There is nothing up here, according to this indicator. So there really isn't any reason for it to continue to move up. This is just a demand shock. You had a ton of people buying that. There was a nice defensive pattern here that people were shorting into. Beautiful trend, channel-like. So you can see it right here. So a lot of people were basically trading in this range for the last 3 days, just operating the way you would, right? Return to the mean style trading. You would just be selling the highs, buying the lows. Every time you get close to the level, you would basically exit. Well, right there, man, they got it. And that is a hell of a spike. Going into it here, before the news, you can see there was like literally zero liquidity. Zero liquidity, very thin volumes trading. It wasn't until that news popped up that got the volume going here. So hardly nothing. Now this is also why you're seeing such a massive move. Very thin liquidity, and the buyers had it. I actually thought it would go lower because Bitcoin was, but Bitcoin also got a bullish spike out of that. Same with Ethereum. But you can see Bitcoin's already given back the majority of that. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, you've been making fresh monthly lows. Right here's your August open, so that was your August low. Friday you made a fresh August low. You made another fresh August low on Sunday, Sunday, Monday, and today. So for the last 3 days you've been making fresh monthly lows. It's not significant lows, so take that with however you will. The 786 of July's range is right here. So I can be bullish on Bitcoin as long as we're trading above 108,995. If we're trading below 108,995, then clearly the next level that I would be looking for price to get to would be the July open. If you go look at the monthly range, let's get rid of these lines. Let's get rid of the indicators to clean the chart up a little bit. Whatever. There we go. Boom, boom. So yeah, this is what we're looking at. You took out the previous month's high and you pulled back into the previous month's range. As long as the 786 of that range holds, then we could potentially look for a pop back up to August's open into the month of September. And that would be the next point of potential resistance, or at least for me in the style that I trade, that would be like the area at which you would want to take profits if you were in a swing trade. So that looks like this on the daily. As long as this area holds right up into this area, it would be the next potential area of resistance. And then the weekly open is up there. That is this last week's open, not this week's open. So on the weekly, yeah, this isn't going to be anything really. So we don't even need that. We can go ahead and pull that down to this week's open, as it's more relevant for us looking for potential resistance moving forward or profit taking zones. Now that is of course only if Bitcoin can hold support. If it's continuously stopping you out to the downside, then you're not going to be able to hold along. And right now your weekly VWAP is kind of controlling the narrative. Now the VIX has been opening up. Let me put you up there on the big screen. The VIX has been opening up higher since we closed on Friday, making a fresh yearly low. Monday you opened up higher but traded back down to the previous year low. And then today we're gapping up, also pushing back down. So the S&P 500 looks like this for right now. You're kind of just sideways in a range. But, you know, below Monday's low. This is your current day open. Let me make sure, because this indicator has a real bad habit of being wrong sometimes. Yeah, there's your day open. Monday's midpoint all the way back up to there. So if you're trading above the day's open, that's the next area. There is more than 10 points in there. If you were looking for bullish scalps, there's about 12.5 points. I generally, when I'm looking for intraday scalps on the S&P or the ES futures, I risk 5 points to make 10. If you're trading the NASDAQ, you would be risking 20 points to make 50. It's about the same risk ratio, because the NASDAQ moves a lot more as far as intraday points are concerned. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be watching. Clearly, if it stays under the daily open, then it would be more of a bearish day than a bullish day. And yesterday was basically a nothing burger until the end of the day. We started to see a little bit of downside pressure come in late session. So right now on Bitcoin for the daily session, the volume point of control is down here. That's your intraday VWAP as well. So as long as this area is holding a support, don't see a reason why we couldn't potentially look for bullish entries on Bitcoin, as long as the VIX keeps making fresh daily lows. But right now with the VIX gapping up, I kind of have to be a little bit more cautious in what I'm looking for. And then Fartcoin yesterday got absolutely decimated. It was down over 20% at one point in the day. You can see it really didn't do a whole lot while we were trading live. It wasn't until 1, 2 o'clock before it started to break down. And when it broke down, my goodness, it broke down. And the same goes for Boom, Book of Meme. Yesterday, I wanted to be short this because it was at perfect technical levels to be short. So we shorted it, and I wanted to see if it could stay below the weekly 21 exponential. As if price is trading under that, I want to be holding shorts. So I'm going to keep the Book of Meme short open, and I'm going to keep the XMR short open for any downside continuation. I've already been paid on both those trades. So in a sense, I don't really care what happens with either one of those. So we do have to look for a new trade today. We got another 10-15 minutes before the market opens here. And like I said, most of your cryptos are up. Actually, all of them are up. The only one that's even close to being down on the day is Book of Meme, and it's up 0.3%. Clearly, it has weakness in it today, but we don't know how the market's going to open. The S&P 500 over here on the futures, the ES, you can see how you're just chopping around here around the intraday VWAP. Your daily looks like this on the ES futures. You are red on the day for now. Trading back down into the monthly volume weighted average price. Here's your NQ. You traded down to the monthly volume weighted average price yesterday. Today you're trading under that. So if you're a buyer or you have a long bias on the NQ, you want to see it hold the intraday volume weighted average price as support, as that's the only way you're going to be able to get back above the monthly volume weighted average price. So we're kind of a mixed session here, mixed bag. You know, everything's down or looking like it's down. It is structured down for now, but we want to see, is the rest of the market going to be structured down? Like the market watch, yesterday we had more of a declining situation on the advanced decline line. That's why yesterday was more of a down day. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on the ADD when it opens. If it's more structured bullish, then I would like bullish entries on the ES and things like that. We also took a bullish position on Tesla yesterday, a small one. It's not a big trade, but we've been looking at Tesla. We've been analyzing Tesla for a long time here. It has been trading inside of this wedging formation. It's a triangle, right? It's just a pattern that retail traders love to draw on their charts. I'm not trading it based on the pattern. I'm actually trading it based on May's range. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. We are trading inside of May's candle. So until Tesla takes out May's high, you're in a 4-month range, or until you take out May's low. So you do not have trending. You don't have a trending circumstance here. You are absolutely sideways, as range bound as you can get. Now, it had a false breakout up here on the retail pattern, a symmetrical triangle, and then it fell back into the range where it spent 2 days trying to build in support at the 21 exponential moving average and then the 50. And then, of course, Friday, we got the Powell news. That forced all the markets up, and now you're back up to the top side here. So yesterday, we took a position in Tesla, and that position was an option spread. We traded it 53 days out in time, and we essentially bought the 350 strike and sold the 355 strike. We were risking 100 to make 100. And we were risking $100 to make $200. And basically, if we start trading, or if we get up to 355, which is right in here, then we will be completely in the money and we'll be able to close out that trade. And the expiration is all the way over here. So it was kind of looking at it like, well, as long as it goes up, then we should be okay on that trade. It's a high probable trade. We're not in the money yet, of course, but it's got plenty of time on it. And then if it breaks back under the 335 level, we can get out. And since we're so far out in time, those options premium will still have intrinsic value on them. So we will not be losing the full $100 that we put on for risk, right? And that just gives you a way to trade the asset and kind of get away from the massive volatility that we see sometimes on Tesla. So yeah, we'll see what it does today. It's gapping down a little bit here pre-market. That's not bad. As long as we're staying above the 30-minute 100 exponential, we typically like it to trend to the upside. I don't know if breaking out of this triangle will help it move up or not, but by putting on that spread, we sold the 355s. So in a sense, if it rejects May's high, we're still good and in the money. So that's why I put the trade on that way. Instead of looking for a bigger, wider spread, looking for a year open test by the end of the year, I just decided, well, if it can just at least get up into that May high, then we could take our profits and then see what happens after that. So up here is that May high, 367. So we're well within the range that Tesla could absolutely get to in that amount of time. Now going back over here to the big guy on the day, which would be Kronos. It is still trying to hold support and coming back into that weekly resistance level there. So this will be threatening upside continuation as low as 17.4. So as long as you're above your weekly VWAP, you are still threatening a potential run back to the upside. But this was a very big move. It did destroy much of the liquidity, and so it'll probably just chop for the rest of the day. But since it is up significantly, these moves are pretty substantial. So there is money that can be made on this as long as it's showing movement like this. Now, the Crow USDT doesn't have a lot of liquidity, so it has very gappy style price action. Like once the liquidity starts to thin out, you'll start seeing it trade more like this. There is a ticker that you can look at if you just type in CROUSD and go right here where it just says spot crypto, the trading view chart itself, and click that. And the candles are a little bit better. Now you won't get volume on this chart, so if volume is one of your things, then you'll want to look at the other one on an actual exchange. But at least this shows you what's actually transpiring with without seeing big gaps in between 1 minute candles, which I absolutely hate. An asset should have enough liquidity inside of it to where you're not seeing that, but it's a thinly traded crypto. That's why it's got such a big move on the day. And then looking at the ticker, Melania USDT is up almost 10%. Another obvious garbage token. It says it's up 10% on weeks. I doubt it's up 10% here. Let's see. Yeah, you're up 11%, so I guess weeks is accurate today. Trading into the daily 21 exponential. So the close will be more important on today's range than anything. If you close where you are currently on Melania, I would leave it alone, because tomorrow you could potentially break out above the 21. But clearly this thing is bearish. I mean, long term it's very bearish, but it does seem to be putting in a support at around 19 cents. We'll see if it can hold that support moving on as time can go on. This is also a thinly traded asset that can move very quickly. So make sure you're taking small position sizes if you're using any kind of leverage whatsoever. And then Bonk, which is one that we kind of keep our eyes on. We've broken under the 618 of July's range, not August's, which is important. We're down on the month for the month of August, and we are trending down. We could put on a trend line that basically just navigates through August's price action, but that's not a very pretty trend line. So maybe there won't be an August trend line. That's okay. We don't need an August trend line, as we got moving averages that act exactly the same way as trend lines do. But you can see Bonk trading on the lows down here. I don't know if I want to look for a fresh short position all the way down here, but I don't necessarily want to buy it either, because it's obviously weak. It's also weak on the daily, as we broke under the 200 exponential yesterday. So we'll pull back into this range. Maybe if it gets back up into that area, I might be interested in looking for a short, but that might not be until Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Penguin, this one has not broken down yet, but on the 4 hour, it has broken down, and you did get a death cross here on the 4 hour. So essentially what you would be looking for on this is a spike back up to the 200 exponential on the 4 hour time frame, and that would be the area that you would be looking to put on new shorts. Same for Bonk. Like, don't necessarily want to short it down here, especially when it's at an objective price point, being July's midpoint. And it is holding as support, as you did spike out away from that price after trading there for a few hours. So I don't know that you're going to see upside continuation today, but at the same time, it's pretty stretched to the downside here at support. So if you know a setup, if you have a setup that you think is a good setup, drop it in the chat and we'll take a look at it together. And if it is a good setup, if it fits within my rules, we'll take the trade, because I have plenty of breathing room on the week, and it's always a good place to be starting the week out. As things were a little bit choppy last week, all the way up until we got to Friday anyway. There's the bell. So Hype is actually holding support at August's volume weighted average price, but every time I try to get long Hype, it lets me down. You can see it's been very choppy for a long time here. And then here is your, oh, sorry, that's August's range, not July's. So we are trading inside of July's range, but you're trading above the midpoint of August's candle. So as long as you're doing that, that suggests there's more near-term strength in it than there is weakness, but it starts to lose that strength up around June's high. as we've not really been able to trade above that yet or make upside continuation from that point. So let's see if it holds support at the last 4-hour swing low. If it does, then maybe we could go in there with a bid and see what it wants. Maybe it wants to go up today. This is the swing at which we would be managing our risk from, not wrist. 4-hour swing low. But I need it to give me a full-on test. So we'll keep an eye on hype. It's already up 5% on the day. Now that the markets are open, Kronos might go back up and stop you out if you did short that. So if you tried to short this earlier, now that the bell's open, Kronos could absolutely make its way back up there and get you. So it would be wise to take any profits that you may have and then just potentially look to re-enter it once weakness sets in. So you don't have to you don't have to really like hope in that scenario. You can actually do it methodically. Hopefully everybody's having a great week. Hopefully everybody's being able to put some money in the bank this week. Get a nice little burst of breathing room on the account. Good stuff, man. Water's so good. All right, what do you got, Kronos? What do you got for us? What's XMR doing? XMR spiking here as well. XMR just looked like a short, and it ended up being a pretty good one. It has broken down here, but here's the question. Is it able to break back above this trend line? If it does, then we might want to get out of that short and look for longs. But you did break down below the daily 21 yesterday. The question is, can it hold that? So we really don't need the 4-hour moving averages here. Your daily 21 is probably going to be in a different place. Let me just see where that's at. It's just a little bit lower. That's probably good enough. Close enough. And yeah, that looks like a good spot. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, I mean, that would be a perfect spot, but that's so far away. It doesn't seem like it would be able to get all the way back up there. And then I don't know if I even would want to short it because it would have a ton of bullish momentum just to get back up there. So I guess the weekly open would be the best spot to watch for resistance. If you think everything is done, I don't. I do not think the crypto markets are done. I think Bitcoin is just choppy right now. Let me see if I can find that post real fast about, who was it? BlackRock. I think it was this guy. BlackRock's CEO was on Fox. Yeah, right here.
On the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was going to say, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that's gone up. I mean, look, it is. We're creating now a market that has more liquidity, more transparency, and I'm pleasantly surprised, and I would never have predicted it before we filed it, that we were going to see this type of retail demand.
So you thought you'd do good, but not this good.
I thought, yes. Yes.
Well, IBIT is your ETF over at iShares.
Yes.
It's about to overtake Grayscale, which was in the business certainly a lot longer. You look at the gains
well
since January 11th when it first came about.
Yes.
Have you ever seen this much inflow this quickly into
IBIT is the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs.
Boom, there you go. So IBIT is the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs. Yeah, I mean, it's a pullback. You know what I mean? It's a pullback until proven otherwise. And in my opinion, you would need to take out July's low to prove otherwise. Until you do that, you're pulling back. Now, clearly, finding the best spot to buy is the difficult thing to do. This is why we just look at the previous month's range and then look for pullbacks into one of the fib zone. You got the midpoint, and then you've got the fibs 618 and 786 retracement. 0.5 is not a Fibonacci level. It's just the midpoint of the candle's range. And we know midpoints carry a lot of weight because most exchanges and trading platforms calculate based on midpoints. That's why they do hold a lot of weight. So as long as you're trading above the 786 on IBIT, which is setting at $61.89, that is a potential support zone. Now, as far as my rule set goes, anytime daily candles are closing under the 21, you have the right to look for near-term shorts, but those are just scalp trades. Like the better trade, as long as you have a declining VIX, the better trade is to look for the buys at support. We can see just how much it's pulled off of the highs here. So you're down 10% on IBIT. 10% over time will be good pullbacks to become a buyer on this asset. The more and more people start to buy into it clearly, the less the ranges will be, the less volatile Bitcoin will get. So over time, not right now, 10% correction on Bitcoin isn't anything really. We're used to Bitcoin pulling back 30 and 40% off of highs back before you could buy an ETF. Like in 2020, there were massive ranges that Bitcoin was putting in. So all of that has slowed down significantly, and Bitcoin is traded as a risk on asset. So as long as the VIX is on the lows, I think I would be more bullishly structured long term. Yearly, you are up on the year. August and September are both historically bad months for Bitcoin and risk markets, so maybe wait until late September, see where price is trading then, see is it trading at or around the 786 in late September, mid-September. If so, maybe then you could put some risk on. It's late August now, so now might not be the best place or time to look to buy IBIT. You're also at the highs, so maybe a little bit of time here is going to be required for this thing to find support. But IBIT has options and it is very liquid. It also trades weeklies. There's two actually that are very liquid and trade a lot of options. It's IBIT and BTBT, I'm pretty sure. Let me pull this up real quick. BITI. Sorry, BITI. So BITI or IBIT, those are the two best for trading options, in my opinion. The rest of them are very thinly traded and they have wide spreads. IBIT has weeklies, BITI does not. So IBIT is my favorite when it comes to options trading for Bitcoin or for the ETF. I like to just trade spot price of Bitcoin because I have that exchange that allows me to do that. But yeah, it's pulled back to support here, and the support for now is the intraday VWAP on Bitcoin. So it's given back the majority of that news. It doesn't mean that Kronos will. What's Bitcoin dominance doing? Bitcoin dominance is weak today. That could help Kronos stay strong. Ethereum is up 3%, so you can see that Ethereum is seeing a good move here. It did hold the majority of that news. and is trying to push up. It's well above the daily intraday VWAP. Pepe is up 2%. Kind of a thinly traded asset here as well. Just trying to find one that has a good setup here. So maybe Jasmy. It's trading above the weekly volume weighted average price. Do you have August's open here? So maybe if Jasmy can hold resistance at like 1520, we could look for a short entry there. The market's been open now for 10 minutes, so we might not get a push back up into there, but we'll see what it does here. Maybe we can take a short on Jasmy. So Jasmy, as of right now, is my favorite. Let me put it on watch up top, just so I can keep my eyes on it while we are looking for something else to trade. And the VIX is pushing on lows. Oh, we're also setting in an IWM long, but we got long IWM back on August the 12th. So we've been in that for a long time. All right, let me put this over here. And the dollar reclaimed a lot of what it lost on Friday. The dollar reclaimed yesterday. And today it's a down day, but it might have found the daily lows. So if the dollar continues to push up intraday today, that might have negative implications for cryptos as well. But as of right now, the dollar is kind of softening, which would be my, like, now that we know there's going to be rate cuts, I would assume the dollar would weaken. But what I assume and what the market does, two totally different things. All right, so I got Jasmy and Tether, or Jasmy pulled up there. Let's go look for something else to trade here. I don't want to chase Jasmy. I guess we could have shorted it at the August Open, but I mean, it was right there just 5 minutes ago. Doesn't seem like the best place to look for the short. But we'll see what it does here. Litecoin is also trading and into its weekly volume weighted average price. You've got an intraday resistance here, but that news spike makes it look more bullish than bearish. So yeah, I mean, it's right here. So Jasmy and Litecoin are both potential short setups. If you want to get long, if you think that the Bitcoin has put in a low and it's going to trade higher today, or if you think Bitcoin dominance is going to remain weak today, then maybe you would be looking to be a buyer. And the best setup that I see right now for Litecoin bids would be around that area. Maybe a little bit lower. Maybe in that area. So a wick down into here, and then if it holds, gets back above that 30-minute swing low, you could buy it, set stop under that wick low. And you're actually trading at the last 4-hour wick high. So I don't really like that for the short. Like where it is right now. Maybe back up here. If it could stop going up from that point. Like kind of what it did here. Point of control is down here. That's pretty good. So yeah. If it could pull back into this area, then I would be okay with looking for a long on Litecoin, but that's only if dominance remains weak. Yesterday, we actually seen Bitcoin moving up there at one point with dominance. I think that was actually on Sunday. That was right before we had that nasty spike lower on Sunday. We were moving up on Bitcoin, and we were also seeing dominance move up with it. And then, of course, someone sold $2 billion worth of Bitcoin and caused the whole market to go into free fall. But yeah, Bitcoin also looks okay for a long, as long as it's trading above, the value area low down there. What are your thoughts on Ethereum? I think Ethereum, the trade has already happened, more or less. I mean, structurally, it looks okay for shorts as long as it's closing 4-hour candles under the 21 exponential. But I mean, here's the thing, like, it's clearly bullish on the daily. Like, you're testing the 21 on the day. Yesterday looks bearish. It does, but I see yesterday as only pulling back into that massively expansion day that you got on Friday. That was a huge day. That gave you fresh all-time highs on Ethereum. So as long as you're closing dailies above the 21 exponential, you almost have to have a bullish bias on it. The 4-hour does look like it is okay to look for near-term scalps to the downside, but yeah, if you get above the 50 on the RSI, I'm not going to like it for shorts. So longer term, like daily, I would have been a buyer, but you can't do that. You got to be a buyer of support. And the buy at daily support was down here. So that would have been the long for us. Right here, once you put in this nice bullish engulf, that pullback right there would have been the buying op for us. Clearly that happened last night, but the way we trade, that's what we would be looking for the long. The short, like I said, you can short it up here because that's your weekly volume weighted average price, but you don't really have any big levels to short off of. You don't have any objective prices to short off of up here. Any higher time frame levels. You have an old 4-hour swing low, but that's all it is. It's an intraday swing low. I'm not sure what you're looking for as far as how you're looking to position, but my bias on the daily would be to look for longs until you're closing dailies under the 21. If you lose this price, then it's like wait one day to see if that's a trap. If it's not, then you can look for shorts on an intraday basis. But right now, it's still not structured like where I would want to be taking shorts on it. If I was looking for shorts, I would be looking for shorts on something like the Book of Meme asset or Pepe or Farcoin. An asset that is weak. That is weak. Like these are the best ones to look for shorts on because your trend is going in that direction. Ethereum is the opposite of that. It's going up. It's going up. Could this be the top? Could it be rolling over? Yeah, but it's not on us to guess if this is going to be the top or not. Trend trading strategies or trend following strategies say to follow the trend until the trend changes. Trend ain't changing as long as you're closing dailies above the 21. That's why I use the 21. So like right in here, I would have said, okay, now we can start to look for shorts if this isn't a trap. It ended up being a trap. And that's a lot of times what you get in a bull market. You'll get the fake out moves to the downside and then boom, it rips in your face. So right now, I guess I don't see a trade on Ethereum myself. Like Litecoin, you have lost that daily 21. So Litecoin, you could even look for shorts. And that's a pretty significant down day. So you would need a massive up day today to make this candle a trap. And I really don't see that happening. A normal day for Litecoin is something like this. A normal up day. Like this was done on news. You would need a candle that size to take out what happened yesterday. So Litecoin looks okay for shorts. And there is a few swings right here you could watch. Also, if price gets up to there. So there was that buying op right there. It did give you the buying op right here. Boom. So that would have been the buying op. It's still a pretty tight range here on Litecoin. Yeah, and Jasmine is more structured weak here. All right, we got 7 minutes left on this hourly. Dominance is starting to push up a little bit. Bitcoin has given that entire news spike back. That could also put a little bit of selling pressure on something like Litecoin or something like Jasmine. Jasmine daily structure just looks better for me for a short. I'm not gonna chase price here, but if we can retest the August open and hold that as resistance, I would potentially look for the short on Jasmine. You're welcome, Casey. Jasmine is let me pull Jasmine up because it's also a thinly traded asset. So we're not gonna go into it heavy. Yeah, I like Jasmine's structure for sure. Let's see if it'll give us the entry. Very thinly traded. I do not like to see gaps on the 5-minute chart. I absolutely despise that. Simply because you can get slipped on market orders. The problem with this structure is if it does catch a bid, it could like use this liquidity to help it break out to the upside. But as far as, just structure is concerned, as far as what you would be looking for in terms of a short, this is kind of what I like to see. And it has lost the 21 on the 4-hour and the daily. I mean, you're under the 50 here. But that's coming off of an oversold bounce. Now, it didn't tag oversold, or it doesn't look like it didn't tag it. But I promise you, on this wick right here, you were under oversold. So you did hit oversold. So this bounce is coming off of an oversold test. Kronos is pushing back up again. This really looks like it wants to spike. This looks like it wants to go higher. Oh my goodness, and all the shorts, look how where the most volume is. All the shorts chased it. So they're stuck already. Yeah, massive freaking volume through there. Definitely looks very strong. You want to see it start taking lows out and making higher, lower highs. It's not doing that yet. I wonder if we should buy this for a short squeeze. How big of a move is that? Man, I hate buying stuff like so stretched out. Oh my gosh. This thing is moving. This thing is absolutely moving. From this blue line to just up in here is 10%. You could absolutely get wrecked on something like that. We got a spike up to 347 on Tesla. Remember, above 350, we're in the money. Apple is getting a pretty significant push lower today. Same with Microsoft and Nvidia. Advanced decline line is setting at 178. That is not super bullish. It's pretty much just mixed, right? You've got 46 advancing stocks, 56 declining stocks. For the, let's see what the equal weighted RSP looks like. Fresh all-time highs. And then it pulled back yesterday. Today, trying to find a little bit of intraday support. So this is just your ES, but every sector equally weighted. That's not giving more weight to tech. You are at all-time highs on it. So I mean, for everybody to say that the market breadth is terrible, I don't see that. Like, your market breadth, your equal weighted is at all-time highs. That's a pretty good breadth. IWM is pushing up as well. That's a pretty good breadth. You want your equal weighted stuff to look like that. You want your small caps to be moving to the upside. If your tech plays are also moving to the upside, then it makes complete sense that the S&P 500 is where it is. I don't understand why people think market breadth looks terrible. It doesn't. Looks good. Looks great. So Jasmine just put in a fresh low, but not a low of day. Just a fresh low here, but it rejected almost instantaneously. Trading back up into this area up in here where we're looking to potentially put on a short. You don't love a short with the VIX putting in fresh daily lows, and ES, but ES is trading at potential resistance. Let's see what it does. Just looking at that 4-hour spike on Chrono is just absolutely insane. Jeez. Absolutely insane. Solana's kind of trying to hold the yearly opening range here. This would be a buying opportunity for anybody that thinks Solana has more to give for the year. I don't love the fact that it got back under there on Friday or yesterday. Yesterday was just a big down move for some of these things. So obviously a lot of retail traders are going to be looking for downside continuation today. That could literally help the market stay afloat or keep them moving up. If everybody has a short side bias, I typically don't want to be on the same side as them. But Jasmine's weak overall. So it fits. That would have been the short right there. Let's put a small short open on Jasmine. Let me see if I can put a limit at 0.015. See if I can get filled on that. What just happened? That was a terrible fill. So I put it up at 4-hour res and it insta filled me, and that was a limit order. That's so stupid. So now I'm chasing it. Great. All right. So yeah, I was trying to get filled here at 1500 on a like if price pushed back into it, but it insta filled me, and that's just something you have to deal with these illiquid assets. It was a limit order, and it still did that. Primary take profit on Jasmine would be about 1474. Ooh, that's going to have to put us way down there. I don't love that, but it is what it is. Chrono's pushing up right now. So it's almost back up at day highs. I told you it looked like it was going to go back up there. Oh my goodness. This thing could go again, depending on how many people jumped in this short, trying to top the markets. Literally the worst strategy ever, and yet everybody does it. All right, since I'm not trading that, I really don't care. Let's just keep our eyes here, peeled on Jasmine, because I am in a short position on that. Nasty, ugly fill on limit. Dominance is kind of trying to push up. S&P is back above the previous month high, but still not able to get anything going to the upside on the daily or on the intraday range. We're looking for Jasmine to push down into 1472-ish. That would give us a 2% move in our direction. That's like primary take profit. Secondary would be low day, just ahead of the daily low. Tertiary yesterday. If you want to take profit at multiple stages like that, I usually just do one and then I'm done. And then just leave the rest of it open to see if it wants to continue. And there is a pretty significant amount of unrealized profits on the bone short. And XMR looks okay too. So even though you got Bitcoin dominance pushing to the upside, Crow is still pushing to the upside. That tells me that they are probably wanting to run the hive day, very much so, because it's pushing up while dominance is too. So literally, it's wanting to smoke those shorts. I don't see many setups today when I have to look pretty hard. Usually means sit on my hands. Yeah, absolutely. There's no problem. Waiting on market reaction to NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA is a huge driver. I'll give you that. But I mean, and it is going to move the market, but it's not like, it is a significant earnings tomorrow with NVIDIA for sure. But I mean, you just have, volumes are just lighter in the summertime anyway. Like, even if you didn't have NVIDIA earnings coming up tomorrow. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of traders are waiting to see if NVIDIA made money last quarter or not. And I'm sure they probably did. I mean, the tariffs didn't really start kicking in until 2 weeks ago. The tariffs might have a significant impact on next quarter earnings for NVIDIA. But yeah, absolutely. If you don't see a setup that you don't love, sitting on your hands is 100% the thing to do. Light volumes like this in the summertime, and you got a low VIX, like all of that stuff means smaller ranges, less trading, slow, steady ranges. It is usually best to be bullish in times like that. But with the crypto markets, they do their own thing sometimes. Tesla retesting, not quite the open. It's back down at 346. We want to see it get up above 355. Probably not going to happen today, but sometime this week or next week. Apple pushing up off the lows, but it's not a significant push. It's just a dead cat bounce. Microsoft tagged the open of the day, so it did get a pretty good push back up. And NVIDIA also testing the top edge of the volatility band for the intraday VWAP. That just means it's above the intraday VWAP. ES and NQ both pushing up to the open of the day. They're trying to do a red to green move. And the big mover Kronos is about to make fresh daily highs. I'm not sure if yesterday there was some news or something that kind of sparked the downside push we seen on some of those cryptos. But yesterday we saw a pretty good breakdown on Jasmine even. Just no downside continuation. So in a sense, you're right back to where you were yesterday on Jasmine. So here's your 12 o'clock candle. So that's your noon candle. So this would have been the market open in here. And then there was the breakdown, and you got a downside continuation candle after that, but it basically gave it all back. And then today, you're right back to where you were yesterday at the New York session. That's not really what you want to see if you're looking for downside continuation. Now, as far as Sunday and Saturday goes, yesterday was a pretty decent move, but most of that move came pre-market. It's the August open that's really got me to the point to where it's like, yeah, I can look for shorts on Jasmine. Chronos almost there. I mean, it's just got a little bit to go and it will smoke the high of day. That is Circle, that is not Chronos. I mean, it's pretty much there. Unbelievable. Dominance is failing to do anything. So you're kind of just, you've been doing this for the entire 30-minute candle since you opened this candle. It's just basically been doop, 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 not going anywhere. Bitcoin looking a little bit weak. Piano keys. Piano keys. The most annoying thing for day traders. When an asset just bangs back and forth sideways like that. Absolutely disgusting. But here is the unrealized gains and the trade that I just took. So here's the Jasmine short. Like I said, I put the fill up here at 150. And they filled me down here. But there's the BOME trade. There's the realized profit that I took yesterday. And then pretty much right back there, which is good. And then the XMR, it's got a pretty good significant amount of unrealized gains. And then we just got in this, so it's not doing anything. But yeah, doing okay today. Should have stayed away from Chronos, but I am a sucker for that volatility. I am a sucker for it. I love it. So Circle, I'll be interested in Circle down here. If it can get down there, I will absolutely be interested in Circle. I want to see what it does down here. I'm not quite sure what this is. Wait a minute, I deleted the wrong one. Go back and get that. Yeah. It's in a pretty good downtrend for now. I mean, for now. XMR still looking okay. So XMR also put in a crazy wick there. I don't know if that's legit or not. Looks legit. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, XMR is a crazy trading asset. Damn, that would have smoked everybody. Yep, it did. All the way back up there, and then it gave it all back. This kind of stuff right here just makes me shake my head. There's nothing you can do, right? There's nothing you can do about it. Jasmine failing to roll over. That's because we got risk markets pushing up. Like I said, VIX is making fresh daily lows. Dominance is not getting anything going here either. Bitcoin is still holding support. And Chronos kind of did just liquidate the Hive day. Now watch it roll over now and piss everybody off that just got stopped out. I guess we could try it. I don't know though. It's moving so fast. It'd be impossible to manage risk. Keep our eyes on Jasmine. The Jasmine is in the 4-hour res, but this August open is a bigger level for me. Above it, objectively, it's up on the month, so I have to get out of the short if it's trading above the August open. What is it doing on the year? It's well down on the year. Super down on the year. Just a nice trending day yesterday. Look at that. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But like I said, you're back right up to where all these people got short around the New York session. It's really disheartening to them for them to see it right back up there the very next day. That will force people to do things. Like if you shorted this yesterday at 10 o'clock, you're seeing this, you're probably thinking, let's just get out, right? That can literally help these things spike. All that extra buying pressure coming into the market. People cutting bait and running. Is there not a better exchange than this one for this asset? Coinbase is worse. Ugh. No, they all suck. What, they don't have a trading view? Don't have one of these like it does on Weeks looks a little bit better. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. It's a disgusting, illiquid asset. Kronos did drop a little bit, but that's a pretty good move. It didn't take out the high of day either on that. It did here. That's a 4%. Oh my gosh, this thing is moving. If it finds resistance up here, I might jump in it. It's just moving too much for me not to. How much time do we got left on this 30-minute? We got 8 minutes. This thing even looks bad on a 30-minute chart. I'll put a limit sell in on Kronos with a very freaking tight stop at 24.75. It might not even matter. It might not be able to get filled. The Jasmine trade is going, I'm going to close that real quick because it's above the August open. I don't like that. That's 36 bucks down the drain. Where are we going? CRO. Let's see, the 21 on that is 20461. You got 6 minutes left on a 30-minute close. If you're short Jasmine, you essentially do not want to see a close higher than this right here. That's your highest 30-minute close. If you close above that, after you put in this lower low down here, I'm not gonna like it anymore. It's just choppy garbage. This is actually coming back up into here. But we just want to see if it finds resistance here. Then we can get a couple percent in our direction. Limit is out, but I need to go in with an immediate stop as well. Oh yeah, there is no volume on this. There's not big volume here. I would assume those volume spikes are from stops. Volume dried up in this, even though it's up 31%. looks like nobody's trading it, but you know people are. Momo scalpers are all over this thing because I'm not really seeing anything else on the ticker tape above me or above this monitor that's showing any massive moving crypto right now. That's a nice move right there in our direction. It literally could have just jumped in and jumped out of that and made a quick bill. I just want to see what that top line read. 95 on the 1 minute. 95.06. You got there in 2 minutes. Boom, boom. This is the 100, so the 50 would be like midways. That's why you're seeing wicks. You're going to have scalpers trying to dictate just directionals between the moving averages. But at any moment, any buy side volume that comes in is going to have no issues pushing this back to the upside. Usually when things like this are pretty much done, they give it all back, right? Pretty quickly. They don't stay consolidating like this. This structure suggests that people are buying it. I mean, there's stuff up in here, but not really. It's just so bloated. No technical levels are really going to help. Apple's almost back to the open of the day. So Apple put in a low at 225 and turned around. Nvidia is almost at the high of day at 180.93. Microsoft also almost at the high of day. Tesla still trading at 346. Dominance pushing back to the downside. Bitcoin pushing up. So Bitcoin finding support at 109.8. Might want to take profits on this if you're scalping it because, I mean, it's not going down. Bitcoin's going up also. Not like significantly, but it is moving back to the upside. The S&P's moving back to the upside. Dominance is pushing lower. It hasn't made a fresh low of day yet, but it's not far. IWM also at yesterday's opening price. You've already taken out yesterday's high on IWM. So IWM at positioned nicely for a run. I would love to see the IWM just start squeezing folks. I'm interested to see how deep that actually got. So it did actually get pretty deep. Not deep enough. So you haven't even tested a 200 exponential yet on a 30-second time frame. That's just insane to me. One minute I can understand, but once you get sub 1 minute, that's pretty insane. Okay, so you did on the 15-second chart. I can't get over that. This thing is strong. 31% it's up on the day. You guys are quiet today, huh? Not a lot happening, I guess. We're also seeing XMR head back to the upside. That's going to be based on that Bitcoin dominance. Moving back down. Book of Meme also pushing back up. Ethereum's up to 3.24%. So Ethereum's almost back to day highs. So the sellers are trying, they're just not getting it. Not getting it. Not yet. Yeah, I think the bearish crypto isn't here yet. I don't think it's time for us to get super bearish on these things just yet. I mean, your total 2 looks good. You're above the daily 21. Total 3 is retesting the daily 21. Others looks a little bit worse, but it doesn't look terrible. We don't need volume on that. Bonk is up 4%. Disgusting price action. Absolutely disgusting. You're not really going anywhere for hours, and then you get a spike, and then you go back to sideways for hours, then you get a spike. Totally annoying. So annoying. Intel's down today. GLD back above the July open and holding firmly. USD JPY going sideways. Circles up on the day, 0.1 or 1.6%. Not really moving. Tesla trying to hold support. And the SPX is unchanged on the day. 0.06%. It's up 3.3 points. 3 points. Literally has gone nowhere from the open, essentially. So there's your opening price. You've gone up literally nowhere. 7 points. What a boring session. Crypto fear and greed is 47 today. Yeah. I don't know where did it go? Oh, let's look at exchange flows yesterday, or ETF flows yesterday for August 25 on pretty big inflows on Ethereum. We see the same thing on Bitcoin. you did have inflows on Bitcoin, so the buyers led the way yesterday on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So even though you had a down day yesterday on Bitcoin, more people were buying it. So buying the dip. They were buying the dip. Yep. ETH back up to the weekly volume weighted average price. Nvidia about to make fresh day highs. You're pretty much unchanged still on the ADD. So yeah, a volatility spike would be awesome. But clearly, people are just sitting on their hands. Not seeing a whole lot of movement here on any of these things. Where are we in terms of... So, I mean... Yeah, I wouldn't do anything with the S&P 500 here. I would almost need it to get... If it could get down in this area down here this week, I think it would be a buying opportunity. That is, of course, as long as the VIX is not above the yearly opening range up here. The last time we tagged that, we were a buyer on the S&P. Ended up being a really good place to be a buyer on the S&P. And since then, you've really not done anything. You had 2 days where we tested that. And then Friday, the big news. So I'm not exactly sure what the gap up's about, but when you gap up and sell off, it's fine. It's fine. Clearly, that is not the 2025 low anymore. This is... But yeah, it's been a while since we've been down at these prices. Like all year, the VIX has been above this stuff, or the majority of it. The fact that we're back down here now, just get ready for more sideways, choppy price action. And occasionally you'll see something like this happen on an altcoin. But there's really nothing to do here. It's hard to buy something that's up 35%. Damn sure don't want to be a seller with it not working. Like, there's only so many attempts on trying to sell something like this that I would do before just wiping my hands with it. Because depending on that news, I mean, obviously the people that are participating in this think that that is legit. And you just got more news. Trump Media, Crypto.com, Trump Media and Technology Group, and Crypto.com. Crypto.com owns Kronos, I'm pretty sure. Has said they plan to launch a company that will implement a treasury-style strategy to accumulate Crypto.com's native token, Kronos. That is good freaking news, bro. Deepening the U.S. president's ties to the crypto industry. The new company, Trump Media Group, CRO Strategy, will go public via a merger with a blank check firm, Yorkville Acquisition Corporation. After the announcement on Tuesday, the crypto token shot up to 22%, up to 19 cents. Bullshit. It's trading at 20 right now, almost 21. Kronos was last valued at 6.8 billion, a fraction of the 3.88 trillion global market cap, according to CoinGecko data. Funding for the strategy will consist of 1 billion in Crow token $200 million in cash to $20 million in warrants, and an additional $5 billion equity line of credit from an affiliate of Yorkville. The three companies agreed to a mandatory 1-year lock-up period. Yeah, right. Trump Media, which runs U.S. President Donald Trump's True Social streaming and social media platform, said earlier this year it was partnering with Crypto.com to launch exchange-traded funds and products through its TruthFi brand. Big news. Big news for this thing. That's insane. And that news came right at the perfect time. Bam! Yeah, and there's really nothing else other than Melania, but Melania token is probably just getting a sympathy bid from that, is what I would say. Like, I would assume Melania is getting a sympathy bid because of that Kronos news. I have never traded this. Trump is actually down 1.2%. So it's funny that Melania would get a sympathy bid and Trump token not. Yeah, nobody's really even trading this thing. Garbage. The access to capital they have is ridiculous. Yeah, Donald Trump is a billionaire, bro. And it's not just him, it's a lot of people, a lot of other people involved. Or maybe Melania. Why does this thing have gaps that big? Something ain't right. That ain't right. That isn't the right chart. Hang on. Let me get Binance. That's the premium index. There we go. Here's the perps. That's old D-Res right there. And the reason that I like this level is because we traded above it here, but it boom, boom, boom. So if it is going to roll over, I would want to see it do it from here. It would be a chase though, right this second. Never traded it. Can I pull that up? $48.66. So it's a very illiquid asset for 24-hour volumes. XMR is starting to push up, and I don't like that. I mean, I really don't care because I'm short from up here. Wait, wait, where am I short from? Oh, so that spike almost got me. Oh, my short entry on XMR is literally right here. 275, sorry. 275.78. So that spike almost got me. Looks like it's trying. I think I'll hold it as long as it can stay under this trend line, but above that trend line, I'll have a different feeling about it, because this will be a rejection to go lower. It doesn't mean we'll see a big upside move, but that would be a rejection. So if you're in the XMR short with me and you got in it pretty close to where I did, we'll close this thing out if it closes the 4 hour above the 21. And just take whatever unrealized gains we do have and then potentially look for an upside shot. But it won't be today, it'll be like tomorrow or Thursday, because we'll need a support check. So it all depends on what this thing looks like after it closes. Still got an hour and 13 minutes on it. Yeah, I'll close it out if it closes above that. In the book of meme, I'll probably do something similar. The book of meme doesn't have as much. It's not as big as a position as the XMR trade is. Let's see what we got here. A millennia. I think I'm gonna short this real quick just for a scalp, see what it pulls out here. Oh, I can't. I can only short. Wait, what? This thing is only 21 cents. Max position size is 2,500 tokens. You've got to be shitting me. I don't even know if I can get that cheap. Here, I'll just type in 24.50. That's a $26 position with 20x leverage. That is so stupid. Why can I only sell 2,500 of those tokens? So never mind. I mean, that's not even worth taking. But if you're watching Melania, I would keep an eye on this price right here moving forward today. If you're trading above it, leave it alone. You don't want to be short unless it's trading under this. Because as long as it's trading under this, then you can legitimately say, well, maybe resistance is here. Based on this previous data here. Well, actually, it's a little bit lower than that. The close is a little bit lower than that. It's an old supply zone. And your daily 21 is just under you at 21.4. So yeah, I mean, if you're above all that, if you're above that, then leave it alone because it could be threatening to run higher. I think you're seeing a sympathy bid in this because of Kronos, the Kronos news. Because Trump token, you're not seeing this kind of move. They specifically target Melania. It's weird. But yeah, that's what I would watch today if you can actually trade it. I think Kronos, you're better off leaving this alone. Because that's your high. I mean, this thing has just been consistently making higher highs all day. Yeah, it probably will pull back. But at the same time, like, where would you expect it to pull back to? That is a massive move on very good news. So might be able to buy this on a retest of the midpoint. So like when you open the next 4 hour candle, you're probably going to put in a lower move somewhere in this area, 20, 19, maybe as low as 18. But if it holds the midpoint of this breakout, you might be able to buy that. Just make sure you're going in with your stop situated on the entry. Because the way this is moving, you can get rectified real quick. 18.5. If that area is holding as support, I don't think I would have any trouble at all buying it. As that's almost where it pulled back to right there. So maybe get down into that to liquidate, but there's really nothing to liquidate here. I bet there is now. Yeah, there is now. So you got people that are selling up here and throwing stops out way up into the 22, 23 cent area. 23, what is that? 22.2237. And this is a week. Let's go 24 hour. Oh yeah. So there's really nothing down in there. And that would be pretty much a midpoint test. Yeah. Ridiculous. But it's slowed down enough here maybe to where it's not having massive price swings. Just a solid grind up. At least we're not losing money. Yeah, that's true. Well, I lost $30 on the whatchamacallit. And I am losing money on XMR as long as it continues to push up. But yeah, I mean, nothing significant. Nothing significant. I never lose a significant amount of money. Never going to do that. I know for a fact I have no idea what price is going to do. So I can't go in with big positions because of that. If I knew what price would do, then of course I would hit it with everything I got. Took longs on Solana at 187 spot 30, ETH at 43.59.5, and Bitcoin 109.709. Nice. For 187.30 on Sol. So that was earlier today. Pretty close to the day low. Not quite. The day low was set pretty early on when we opened last night. That set the day low on Solana. And you bought it like pretty much right on the value area low. Typically, good place to buy. I mean, it's not a good place to buy if prices are going down, but you get what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it was a fantastic entry. 109.7. pretty close to the point of control, so that's okay as well. $43.59. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good spot. I don't know what I have 43.77 marked there for. Oh, that's that old swing low that I was talking about earlier. That's not even it. 43.77's down here. Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's nothing. Yeah, ETH is actually trading into where maybe you might start to see a little bit of resistance come into play, but it looks good for right now. Fartcoin is 1.5%. Yeah, I'd say people are shorting this heavy because it's not doing anything today. Book of Meme looks bad too, like it's not doing anything either. This one has a bad habit of spiking hard also. Like when it does get going, it can really do something. Bonk pushing up into a potential resistance area right now. An old support swing. Might keep my eyes on Bonk later on today. All right, I guess we're gonna wrap it up. There ain't a whole lot of stuff moving here. Everything is still sideways, and we're an hour and a half into the market open. Got nada. Nvidia fresh day high. Microsoft back down towards support 503.11. Apple at almost at the daily high. You are negative on the ADD though, so that's something. So you did push up into the 500 area on the ADD. Now you're back under negative or back under zero. I don't know if that's going to have a massive effect on risk markets. Declining is 59, advancing is 43. That's the S&P 100. And then the index watch heat map is still just very mixed. Nvidia, Avgo, AMD, Qualcomm, MU are up. And the information technology, communication services is, you have Netflix and Disney. Financials, Schwab, American Express, and Capital One. It looks like industrials are doing okay today. GE, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Uber. Those things, as far as healthcare is concerned, healthcare only has one company in the whole sector that is up, and that's Lilly. Wait, no, GILD's up in Ragin. Lilly's up pretty good though. And that's pretty much it. What's Walmart doing? Walmart had really big news the other day. They said they were going to have to raise prices for Q3 and Q4 based on tariffs. And that's essentially when the Fed came out and changed their stance after Walmart had their earnings. So it's down just a little bit from Friday, not much. So two-sided trade happening here a little bit. Had a little push up. Now you're seeing a little roll over. Like it's literally not done anything. Very boring. What's the NQ done today? Let's go look at the US 100. So here's your 930 open. You did go lower, but just from the open, you're up right at around 50 points. So the NQ has moved enough to take a trade on it today. S&P, not really. Not really. Can't make that money if you don't show up. That's for sure. That's for sure. STRK, that's MicroStrategy's 8% preferred. Pushing a little bit lower. Where is strategy though? I thought I had it up here. MicroStrategy kind of doing nothing on the week, as that's yesterday, today. So today's trading inside yesterday's range. You're well under the 50 here. So we broke down below May's low. MicroStrategy is a good one to sell cash secured puts on. If you wanted to buy 100 shares of MicroStrategy, you could put that money to work just by selling cash secured puts. Maybe not when it's in a downtrend like this. If we would have reversed here back to the upside at May's low, then you could have sold some cash secured puts. Since you broke down, you are trending down here. It's tied so much of its wagon to Bitcoin though. It's trading like Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's been going down for a few weeks now. 3 weeks in a row. Boom, boom, boom. You've made lower lows. See, like, it's hard for me to even want to buy Bitcoin until it gets back above last week's low. Just kind of not doing anything. Since late last night, it hasn't went anywhere. All those ETFs really slowing Bitcoin volatility down, which is something we kind of expected to happen. For sure. Absolutely. Look at that 30-minute candle on Chronos. It has pulled back off the highs a little bit. At your third swing high. Third insignificant high on the day. After 9:30, it's your third. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap it up. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Oh, wait. Can you do a video on how to do that? I've never traded puts. We can go over it really quick, as it doesn't really, it's not hard to do. You just need to have money in the account. So cash secured puts is a strategy to trade. Essentially what it does is you're selling the premium, but you don't want to do it in a downtrending market. You want to do it when a market is sideways or if the market is trending higher. So basically, if you have enough money to buy 100 shares of MicroStrategy, let me pull you up over here. Wait a minute. So you can see that MicroStrategy is going down. So let's pretend it hasn't broken down yet from May's low. So this is the data that we would have. You would want to see it start to trend back in the up direction, or at least hold here and start to move back up. Then you could simply say, well, if I have enough money to buy 100 shares of MicroStrategy, then you can go out like 2 weeks. You can go out 2 weeks of, oh, sorry. You can go out, give me 1 second. Give me MSTR, bro. Thank you. Okay. So you would know that you would want to sell puts like under 350, right? Because that's where May's low is. And that's also maybe where you want to get filled. So you have the money and you want to put that money to work, but you don't want to buy it at 372 because 372 is a little expensive. You would rather get filled at 350. So then you can just take your money, put it in the trading account, and then come out here like 17 days and go down to the 350 strike, which we can't do because it's in the money, because price has traded down. But you would like 300s. Okay, so right here's where price is right now. Say you wanted to you wanted to get filled at 330. You would just sell the 330 strike, and it gives you $1,000 of profit as long as it expires in 17 days higher than 330. So going back to the chart, we're selling the 330s. We're getting out of this every 2 weeks. So 330 is right under price. So I wouldn't do that. But right there's 330. We need to go 17 days. Shit. Let's just go over here 17 days ish. Right there. There you go. So your Alt H, your 330 strike is here, and you're short here. So as long as price stays above this to here, then you would make $1,000 of profit. And if it doesn't, if it gets under here by expiration and you expire, you're going to get filled at 330 regardless of where price is. So if price is all the way down here, you'll still get filled at 330, and then you would be taking a massive loss, right? So you would want to do it far out. I suggest people do it 2 weeks, but like real far out. And the option chain gives you a pretty good indication of where price could go. That's this calculator right here. This is considered your market maker expected move. This is in the money, so this little ruler right here, and it even shows you where there's a lot of buildup at. So that's kind of like a put wall right there. What you hear people talk about, a put wall or whatever, that's in this area, these 3 strikes. So price, could bounce from there or could go down there. So you would want to get under that, because the whole thinking is, I want to get under that ruler and sell that premium, because there's a good chance, a high probability, that price won't go that low in 17 days. So you could sell like the 305s or the 300s, and there's still plenty of premium on this. So like you would max profit $380, $395 every 12 days, as long as price does not get there. And if it does, it's okay, because you want to put that money to work anyway, right? Okay, so there you go. It's just a way for you to put your money to work before you actually get a fill, before you actually are in the stock owning 100 shares. If you already have the money, you might as well make as much as you can as time goes on. Some people just sell cash secured puts, and they just, instead of taking the fill at expiration, they'll just get out of the trade. If they've been like, if their strike is in the money for more than a few days, they'll just eat the loss, right? They just eat that loss. But yeah, I mean, if you want to put the money to work anyways, but like I said, it's you need to do that when you're in a sideways market environment or a bullish market environment. If you try to do that when you are trending, this is a trend. You have broken below May's low. So if you go look at a monthly chart, there was the range that we were trading in. You are breaking down. You are trending. So you could have simply started selling cash secured puts under 358 in June. And had you done that, you would have received that premium come August. You're still selling the 350s because that's the level that you need to break out before you can no longer be selling the premium down there. So now moving on, I mean, now that you're breaking down, the question for MicroStrategy in August, and there's only 3 days left on this close. This is the last week of August. So if you close under 359, you are threatening to trend lower, right? So now isn't the time to put that trade on. But you can clearly see when it is. Like right here, this candle, this was the last expansion that you received back over here, right? Several months of sideways, and then this candle broke out of the range right there. That was your swing high. That was your all-time high. So you broke out and closed above. Then the next month you pushed into this range a little bit and expanded, broke out to the upside. So for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, every 30 days, you could sell literally lower than that, but you, in theory, you could sell the 537 calls and the 218 puts every 30 days. Boom, boom, boom. So as long as you're in the range, you're just making money every single month because you are expiring worthless every month. You are expiring worthless. So that's the idea of a cash secured put or a cash secured. Never sell cash secured calls on markets that are trending up. You'll get wrecked. It's the same as trying to short a market that's breaking out to the upside. It makes no sense. Like, it's the wrong strategy. It's the strategy most retail does because most retail doesn't understand how to trade. They just see price go up, I get long, or price go up, I short. They don't really have a strategy. They don't understand the basic fundamentals of trading, risk management, and just normal price action analysis. It's so simple. So the last period of sideways trading we had was 3 months ago. And it was inside of this candle. You were trending. So you're still sideways in this, but you don't want to go that far out. Because there probably isn't much premium 30 days out under 237. We're in 17 days. Let me go to 30 days. And let's just see what kind of premiums are out there. 30 days. All right, 30 days. So that swing low or the next swing low is 235s. So the 235 strike is right here. Okay, there's $286 right there. Free money as long as in 31 days MicroStrategy does not make it to here. Free money just sitting there for the taking. But here's the thing, you are trending down, so not really the best time to put that on. You need to wait for September to open, and then maybe you could sell here and do it less than 30 days, like 15 days. Like, just, you can play with it, but clearly if we close under May's low, because that was the lowest low, right? That low is 358.50. This low is 358.80. So that's a higher low. Okay, perfect. So this was the lowest low in the last 4 months. That's why May's low is so important, because it's the lowest low. Now that you've broken that and potentially going to close below it, next month you could open in September. Say you close right here, Friday. Okay, well, Monday you open there, or you gap up a little or gap down a little, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now this will be an important low. But I don't want to sell right there, because it could get down there in just 2 or 3 days. I would rather sell down here. Because if you're up here and this low, you're not trading under this swing low, then this area down here is not even being threatened. So you could, when September opens, say 295s or 290s, come over here 31 days out and sell the 290s. Boom. The account's already got the money in it. So worst case scenario, you have a massive breakdown from here and you trade all the way down here before 30 days is up. But as long as your VIX is down under 16, as long as all that stuff is going on, you're okay. You don't have to worry about that happening. Markets generally trade sideways more than they trend. That's why cash secured puts is a great strategy to put on. If you have the money. It is not a great strategy if you do not have the money. Because A, you can't get in this trade anyway unless you have $13,050 in the account. Because that's how much you can lose. Like Max lost 28K. But they won't even let you get in it unless you got 13K worth of buying power in the account. So worst case, you would get a margin call, right? And the only way you get this is if you go to zero. Like, yeah, that's not happening. But anyway, it's a great strategy if you have the money, if you can cover the loss. If you can't, say you have a small account, well, then you need to do a put spread. Now, this is different, as it's a trade that manages downside risk. You know what I mean? It's just a trade. It's not. Cash secured puts is a better way to just, because you don't care if you take the fill, in a sense. Because we can look at the chart and we can be like, well, yeah, if it gets back down there, then yeah, I would probably want to buy MicroStrategy at that price anyway. So if it does get down there and it does expire in the money, then you get filled at 292. That's not so bad. Because you know, this was during a very volatile point in the markets. The VIX was exploding up to 60 during this time. I mean, we literally set the lows for most markets in April. And if you want to just do that, like, you can cash secure puts the yearly range. Right there's your yearly high. That's your pretty close to the year low. Right there's your year low. There's your year open right here. So year low, year high. You can go out further in time, like 60 days or 90 days, and sell above the 457s, sell below the 231s. Like, because what are the probabilities of price getting up there in 30 days, 40, 60 days, or 90 days? Yeah, there's a million trades you can put on with options. Options are phenomenal. People should learn them. If you plan on being a professional trader one day, you do need to learn options, because when markets are sideways, there are so many ways to make money. There are so many ways to make money when markets are trending. So right now, MicroStrategy is trending to the downside. Be a little bit more risky to put on a short put. But it's, you wait for the trend to stop going down, then do that. But if there's a price that you love anyway, right? Any price that you love anyway, well, then go ahead and sell that cash secured put out there at that price, because that's where you would love to get filled. It works really good on something like an O'Reilly as well, right? O'Reilly. Look at this stock. Like, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This stock trends up so nicely. Just absolute beauty. Absolute beauty. Right now you're on all-time highs, but look back here. You see what I see? Absolutely. Boom. Oh, this month, when this month opened, you could have been selling the 85 strike put. Okay, boom. Did it. There's a new month. You're short the 85 strike. So basically, you just need to see this thing close above that. And it did. So you made the money from that premium. It gets credited to your account. Now you can start over and do it again. That's the low. We haven't been able to get down there. It's sideways. This thing loves to trend, and it loves to trend higher. So I'm going to sell the 85 strike put again for another month. And then as long as this month closes above $85, you get the premium. And it did. So now you would adjust the strikes. Now you're selling the 88s. Because if you get down there, you would probably want to buy the stock anyway. Unless you get down there in a week. But if that were to happen, the VIX would be exploding to the upside, and a lot of people would start freaking out, right? As long as your VIX is staying under the yearly opening range, you can sell cash secured puts. It's a great strategy. Absolutely fantastic strategy. As long as you have the money. That's key. All right. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Oh, wait, hang on. So I'll turn 50K daily spread out as 10 separate 5K spot positions to make 1 to 2% per day. No, you wouldn't be making that kind of money per day. No, it's per, expirations. Every expiration. How often you want to put the trade on. You can put the trade on 4 times per month if you want, because most liquid assets have weekly options. So instead of doing 30-day fills, you could do weekly fills or weekly options. You could sell the weeklies. Where is it? Right there. So you could sell weeklies. So O'Reilly's been trading pretty sideways here for the last 3 weeks. So when this week exploded to the upside, you could have been selling next week out 1 week at 99. And then whatever the premium you get for it, which probably wouldn't be a lot, but it's still just making money. It doesn't matter. Well, O'Reilly doesn't have weeklies. So O'Reilly's not the best stock to do for weeklies, but MSTR does have weeklies. Yeah. Any amount of money that you can generate by selling cash secured puts is just adding funds to the account. That's literally it. Like, it's free money almost. You just got to know how to manage those positions and understand the risks that are associated with the position. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic way to make money. And it's a strategy that you could only do. Like, you could only put that on if you wanted to. Like I said, IBIT has really liquid options. The premiums aren't much. Right now, you're trending down. So selling the put wouldn't be the best thing to do. But you could sell the 6109. So let's go to IBIT and let's just see what a 7-day. Well, there's not a 7-day, there's a 10-day. So I'm not selling this put for this week, I'm selling it for next week also. And I'm saying I don't think it'll get down to this low. That's $61 to go out 10 days. What's 61? That's 83 cents. Okay, so you get $83 worth of credit credited to your account every week, right? It's not life-changing money, I get it, but that is a smaller account. You can put this trade on if you just have $2,500 in a trading account. If you've got enough to buy 100 shares of MicroStrategy, then that means you could sell 10 contracts of IBIT. So it'd be $800 every week, right? It is what it is. You've already seen 3 down weeks right here. So putting this on, that's a pretty damn good trade. What are the odds that you're going to smoke that low by the end of next week? Probably not great, since we've got 3 negative weeks in a row. Is it possible that we get 2 more? Yeah, absolutely it is. That's why this strategy ain't the best strategy to put on when you're trending down. It's the best strategy to put on when you're sideways and trending higher. But never sell calls in a market that trends up. Calls will get you killed. Calls have unlimited risk. Unlimited risk. Puts can only, the asset can only go to 0. So there's always a maximum amount that you can lose. But yeah, selling cash secure puts, very valid strategy. Fantastic way to make a little bit of money on a weekly basis. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you made like close to 80, 90 bucks a week every single week, you just keep compounding. Your contracts aren't always going to be 1. Your account is going to grow. Therefore, you're going to be able to add to size. Like, it's unlimited gains forever, almost. Occasionally, you're going to either get out of the trade for a loss or take the fill. That's why it's best to do it in uptrending to sideways assets, not something that's, pushing lower. Not the best time to put the strategy on. But for a weekly or a monthly basis, it's not a terrible idea either. You are inside this monthly range still. And since you are, you could put it on. And if you don't want to go down to there, maybe you want to go a little bit lower. You want to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit less risky, then go to the last monthly low. The odds of that getting down to here in 1 month are low. They're not 0%, but they're low. It's a very high probable trade. That's why you don't get paid a lot of money to put it on, because the market makers know, well, this guy's likely going to get paid. It's the high money trades that you got to be worried about. Those are the ones that are less likely. So yeah, you're not going to generate a ton of money by selling cash secured puts, but you can. It is a valid strategy. If you have the money to put it to work, put it to work. That's why the rich get richer in theory, because they do have a lot of money. So they do put that money to work. That's all I'm doing right now. I have money that's just sitting around not doing anything. So I put it to work. I do this strategy when I want to when I want to own a stock. I absolutely will sell cash secured puts. Absolutely. But I'm also doing it. I'm also day trading. I'm scalping, percentage points out of assets that move multiple percents per day. Like, I'm putting my money to work. It's just different strategies, different kinds of trades, but the whole, it's all the same thing. It's all in the same bucket. I'm just putting money that I have sitting around to work for me. That way I don't have to work for my money. That's what the markets are all about. The problem is 90% of retail do the absolute most risky strategies possible. The ones that do not make money. What strategy do you want to put your money to work for, Mr. Smith? Oh, what's the riskiest strategy you got? The one that 90% of people lose money in. Oh, well, that's scalping penny stocks. Okay, let's put all my money to work in that, please. I mean, in a sense, that's what retail's doing. I wanna do YOLO. You only live once. Option trades on 0 days to expiration. You do realize that 90% of those options expire worthless, correct? Yep. And I want to buy a lot of them today, and because I'm gonna get rich today. No, you're not. But okay, I will put that trade on for you. Yeah, no. There are absolutely 100% profitable trading strategies out there. People are doing the wrong ones. I wouldn't be doing what I do on a daily basis if I wasn't making money. Clearly. Right? Clearly. But yeah, IBIT right now is trading. It's not an inside monthly candle because we took out last month's high and we are trending for the last 3 weeks lower. So you could potentially, in theory, not this month, but next month, take out July's low. You could, because the spot price of Bitcoin is pushing in that direction. As long as the VIX stays low, I think Bitcoin will probably, like next week, you got big news. NFP is on Friday. This week, Friday, you have PCE. So those big news events can absolutely cause volatility spikes. You don't necessarily want to be trading through those times and things like that with a cash secured put, unless the asset is trending higher, like your NVIDIA's, all your assets that pretty much only go up. Apple there for a long time was a beautiful, beautiful trade, right? June's low was a phenomenal place to sell puts. Boom, boom. Up she goes. This is getting a little bit far out now. So maybe the August open in September, you could sell on Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. All of these things are very liquid. 3 days left on this. So as long as it closes above 488.70 in 3 days, you're an inside monthly candle. So that means moving forward, Microsoft is not trending anymore until it takes out 488.70 or 555. It is literally sideways until that happens. One of the two. So the trade that I just put on the yesterday with the Tesla spread, Me knowing that Tesla has been inside this range for 4 months, has not broken out yet, then it makes sense to put on a trade targeting up in here because the last few days we've been trending higher. And that would be a quick $200 if it gets up there. Quick 200, boom, right into the account. If it gets up there. If it doesn't, I'll close the trade out for a small loss. No big deal. But put options in your trading strategies, guys. Absolutely. I'm sitting on a nice little profit right now with IWM. I would love to see it break out. If it doesn't, I'll close it out, look to reposition later higher as long as IWM is trending higher. It makes sense to do it. You can sell cash secure puts on Tesla too because it is extremely volatile. Extremely volatile. And the monthly lows have been creeping higher and higher. So that just tells me, looking at the monthly, unless you have a very volatile period of price action in the next month and you like break down severely bad, well then clearly that would be brutal. But what does it look like it's going to do? To me, it looks like it's going to break out because each one of these monthly lows are higher than the next one or the last one, right? So even on this month, selling cash secured puts would have been okay. Under May's low. Then this month, you opened closer, but still, that's fine. You're above it. It looks like Tesla's getting ready to break out to the upside. It could do something like that, though. Absolutely. We don't want that to happen, but it, we're trying to do it when the shape looks good for it to break out to the upside. It looks okay. Tesla's been trading sideways for a very long time, guys. Tesla's not the biggest trending stock that everyone thinks it is. Like, if you look at this thing on a quarterly, it's literally been stuck for multiple quarters here. You're just chopping sideways, getting tighter and tighter and tighter. You're still trading inside Q4's range. Not trending. It's the opposite of trending. It's sideways. So the last several months, you could have literally been just, selling cash secured puts on Tesla for month after month after month. Occasionally, you're going to get stuck, right? You're going to get hit because a period of volatility will spike. You will get smoked. You will get filled on the trade. But as long as the asset goes up over time, you will be fine as long as you just hold. You just hold. And then eventually it goes back up. Right now, we're not expecting a bear market to happen the rest of this year. So in theory, you could sell under July's low on Tesla for every single month for the rest of the year, probably. And probably be okay. The bear market already came and it's already gone. We've already gotten back up to all-time highs. The SPYs also have very liquid options, and this asset does trend a lot. Occasionally, you get these crazy volatile moves. Occasionally. Most of the time, you get steady as you go trend. Just because of the way the product was built and designed. Good stuff. When I have some more money saved up, I'll start doing options to build that as third revenue stream trading. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fantastic way to do it. It's fun. It's slow. That's the thing, right? It's super slow. You're only putting on, if the asset has weeklies, maybe once a week, you're putting this trade on. Once a week. But if the asset's trending, it is. Okay, good. We just had an outside week last week on the SPY. last week was an outside week. You took out last week's high and you took out last week's low. So you could sell the 632s on the SPY every week. The SPY has very liquid options. So there's only 3 days left on this week. So if we went to sell the 630s right now, well, there wouldn't be very much money on it. 632s have got 58 cents of credit on it. So the buying power effect would be 11 grand. So you would need at least $11,000 to put the trade on. You would only make 58 bucks. But when this week ends well above 632, that $58 gets credited to your account. When we start next week, you just sell the same one. Boom, all over again. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We took out the previous week's low and closed up on the high. The odds of it coming back down here are very low. Could happen, but very low. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday.